Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky is visiting Saudi Arabia. Zelensky held a bilateral meeting with Saudi Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman. The two leaders discussed a potential peace formula for the ongoing war between Russia and Ukraine. The Saudi Crown Prince said he is open to being the mediator between Zelensky and Russian President Vladimir Putin. France's foreign minister said that his country's troops could have non-combat roles in Ukraine. He said, and I quote, "We must consider new actions to support Ukraine. I am thinking of mine clearance, cyber defense, and the production of weapons." The foreign minister's remarks come just a day after French President Emmanuel Macron said he had not ruled out the option of sending French troops to Ukraine. Meanwhile, the Biden administration clarified that the U.S. will not be sending its troops to Ukraine. White House spokesperson John Kirby said that American troops will not even have non-combatant participation in the war. However, Kirby added that the U.S. will not stop sending military aid to Kyiv. U.S. President Joe Biden won the Democratic primary in the state of Michigan last night. Biden defeated Dean Phillips to get a clear margin over other Democratic Party candidates. However, a sizable amount of Democratic voters expressed their lack of trust in Biden. Meanwhile, Donald Trump won the Republican primary in Michigan yesterday. Trump beat Nikki Haley with a massive margin as he moves closer to setting up a rematch with President Biden. Despite the loss, Haley said she will continue her campaign till Super Tuesday, which is on the 5th of March. Super Tuesday is when 16 states and one U.S. territory hold their presidential primaries and caucuses on the same day. South Korean President Yoon says he will go ahead with the plan to bring in medical reforms. He said that the ongoing protests and strikes by doctors were not justified. Yoon added that increasing the number of doctors in the country was a necessity. Presently, over two-thirds of South Korea's doctors refuse to work as the government plans on increasing the number of seats in medical colleges. Indonesian President Joko Widodo awarded Defense Minister and President-elect Prabowo Subianto the honorary rank of a 4-star general. The outgoing president also praised his defense minister for his service to the nation. Prabowo Subianto will take over from Joko Widodo as he won the recently held presidential election. An Israeli airstrike on a building in Rafah has killed at least 8 Palestinians. Another 20 people were wounded in the airstrike. Medical officials say some of the injured civilians have sustained head injuries and are in a critical condition. Qatar's Emir, Sheikh Tamim bin Hamad Al Thani, is on a 2-day visit to France. He met French President Emmanuel Macron last night. The two leaders discussed the ongoing war between Israel and Hamas. Al Thani told Macron that Qatar is on the verge of brokering a ceasefire agreement in Gaza. A massive fire has destroyed a plastic factory in the West Bank city of Hebron. Hundreds of firefighters rushed to douse the flames. The local administration says that there were no casualties. Authorities are investigating what caused the fire. Meanwhile, a raging blaze engulfed a market in the Iraqi city of Erbil last night. Firefighters were able to bring the flames under control after a few hours. At least 50 people were reported injured and hundreds of shops were burnt down. Officials have concluded that an electric short circuit caused the fire. Hundreds of Nigerians took to the streets to demonstrate against the government. The protesters said they were unhappy with the rising cost of living in the West African nation. Members of the Nigerian Labour Union Party joined the demonstrations and accused the government of implementing bad economic reforms. The Brazilian police launched an operation in Rio De Janeiro yesterday. At least 9 people were killed as special police operatives raided working-class neighborhoods. Police officials say that they targeted the command center of a drug trafficking unit. In climate news, in Brazil, severe floods have isolated the Brasilia city in the northern state of Acre. This comes after torrential rainfall caused nearby rivers and streams to overflow. According to reports, at least 12,000 people have been displaced in Acre. Officials have declared an emergency in 17 out of 22 cities of the state. Meanwhile, fire outbreaks in Brazil's northern state of Roraima have hit a record high. The government has declared a drought emergency in 9 municipalities of the state. According to Brazil's space agency, fires in Roraima have increased by 465% from last year. The Popocatépetl volcano in central Mexico rumbled to life yesterday. This prompted the Mexico City airport to cancel 22 domestic and international flights. The country's disaster agency says it has recorded over 77 discharges from the volcano in the last 24 hours. The volcano has been spewing huge columns of smoke, volcanic gases, and ash. Officials have issued a yellow alert warning residents to stay away from the volcano. An oil spill that was first spotted near the Caribbean nation of Trinidad and Tobago has spread to Bonaire Island. This will likely damage the island's mangrove forests and national parks. The neighboring island of Aruba has also issued an alert in view of the oil leak. The oil spill is attributed to an unknown vessel which capsized in the Caribbean Sea earlier this month. A raging wildfire in the U.S. state of Texas doubled in size yesterday. Authorities have issued a disaster warning for at least 60 counties. The fire has damaged more than 100,000 hectares of land in just 28 hours. The blaze has also crossed into the neighboring state of Oklahoma, forcing thousands of people to evacuate their homes. Cities across the US and Canada have reached record temperatures for the month of February. In the US, the Midwestern city of St. Louis saw the mercury hit 30 degrees Celsius yesterday. This is the highest temperature ever recorded in St. Louis for the month of February. Meanwhile, in Canada, the eastern city of Montreal hit a record high of 15 degrees Celsius. Scientists say the El Niño weather pattern and climate change are contributing to these extreme temperatures. The City of London is the world's worst affected by air pollution caused by aviation. This is according to a study by the European Federation for Transport and Environment. Researchers say 6 airports exposed the city to harmful gases and pollutants. The study also found that London's Heathrow Airport is the second most polluting airport in the world after Dubai. On to business and tech news. A petition has been filed against China's real estate group Country Garden. The lawsuit seeks to dissolve the firm for not paying off a loan worth over $200 million. This comes just a month after another property developer from China, Evergrande, was ordered to wind up operations. For the last few years, numerous Chinese real estate firms have been struggling with heavy debt amid weak housing demand. Russia ordered a 6-month ban on gasoline exports starting next month. The announcement was made yesterday. The temporary measure aims to keep domestic prices stable ahead of winter, which is peak demand season. As per reports, Russia has suffered from a shortage of petrol and diesel in recent months, leading to a spike in fuel prices. The Mexican economy minister, Raquel Buenrostro, has threatened the U.S. with retaliatory measures. This comes after the U.S. called for imposing tariffs on steel imports from Mexico. The U.S. has asked Mexico to check rising steel and aluminium shipments to the country. The U.S. Food and Drug Administration will increase the number of inspections at Indian drug manufacturing units this year. The FDA's director in India, Sarah McMullen, has said that they are requesting more investigators for the country. The move comes amid concerns over the quality of drugs produced in India. Last year, the World Health Organization linked the deaths of dozens of children in Gambia to drugs produced in India. Starbucks has reached an agreement with the U.S. Workers' Union to create a framework for unionization. The union, named Workers United, represents employees in about 400 Starbucks outlets across the U.S. According to a joint statement by Starbucks and Workers United, the framework will include ways for Starbucks workers to organize and collectively negotiate fair pay. Sony is cutting about 900 jobs at its PlayStation unit. The layoffs will affect about 8% of the total PlayStation employees globally. Yesterday, the company also announced the closure of its studio in London. The move comes days after Sony reduced the sales expectation for its PlayStation 5 console in 2024. Meanwhile, the online dating firm Bumble has announced plans to lay off about 350 employees. The job cuts will account for about 30% of Bumble's total workforce. The firm said that the layoffs are part of Bumble's restructuring plan. This comes after Bumble reported a net loss of $32 million in the final 3 months of 2023. Warner Bros. Discovery is closing its New Zealand television news network Channel 3. It is one of the 2 free-to-air television networks in New Zealand. Channel 3 will be shutting down its newsroom, television broadcasts and website by the end of June. The move will lead to over 200 employees losing their jobs. U.S. department store chain Macy's is reportedly considering closing its flagship store in San Francisco. The firm is weighing the property's cost against the future sales growth prospects at the location. Macy's plans to close over 150 underperforming stores in the U.S. by 2026. Tech giant Apple has reportedly cancelled its plans to build electric vehicles. The firm is expected to lay off hundreds of employees in the unit. Some employees will be moved to the iPhone maker's artificial intelligence division. The firm had never publicly acknowledged its EV plans, called Project Titan. However, the unit reportedly employed about 2,000 workers. Moving on to sports news, Namibia's Lofty Eaton smashed the record for the fastest century in men's T20 international cricket. Playing against Nepal, he knocked a century in just 33 balls. Eaton scored 101 that included 11 fours and 8 sixes. The record was previously held by Nepal's Kushal Malla, who scored a ton in 34 balls. India's Mohammad Shami has successfully undergone a heel surgery. He updated his health condition on social media after the operation yesterday. Shami was injured during India's ODI World Cup campaign. He has been absent since India's loss to Australia in the World Cup final. India's Shreyas Iyer was named in the Mumbai squad for the Ranji Trophy semi-final. Iyer was excluded from India's squad after the second test against England. He skipped the Ranji Trophy quarter-final against Baroda, citing back pain. Iyer's inclusion in the Mumbai squad comes against the backdrop of the BCCI's warning to central contract players that avoiding domestic cricket would have severe implications. In football, Manchester City demolished Luton Town 6-2 in the 5th round of the FA Cup. Striker Erling Haaland netted 5 goals for City, with 3 of them coming in just the first 40 minutes of the game. Mateo Kovacic picked up City's 6th in the second half to wrap up the show. Spanish striker Jenny Hermoso has spoken up for the first time since the 2023 FIFA World Cup kissing scandal. Hermoso said, and I quote, "Football continues to give me life." She had helped Spain to a maiden World Cup trophy last year. Japan and North Korea's women's football teams are all set for a crucial qualifier match for the Paris Olympics. The 2 sides drew 0-0 in the first leg of their qualifier. The winner of the next match will earn one of Asia's 2 berths in the 12-team finals. In tennis, world number 4 Daniil Medvedev began his title defense campaign at the Dubai Open. He downed Kazakhstan's Alexander Shevchenko 6-3, 7-5 in the round of 32 yesterday. Medvedev has returned to the courts after missing 2 tournaments due to a foot injury. India's Rohan Bopanna and Australia's Matthew Ebden advanced to the quarterfinals in the men's doubles category at the Dubai Tennis Championships. The duo defeated Turkey's Skander Mansouri and Pakistan's Asamul Haq Qureshi 7-6, 7-6 in the round of 16. Former Belarusian Olympics head coach Yuri Moisevich has been banned for trying to force a sprinter to return home from the Tokyo Olympics. The athlete Kristina Simanowskaya had refused to board the flight back to Belarus. She felt her safety was at risk if she returned home. The coach was found guilty by a disciplinary tribunal to be in breach of World Athletics Integrity Code of Conduct. Confidential security plans for the 2024 Paris Olympics were stolen on Monday evening. The incident happened at a railway station in the French capital, Paris. Police say a bag with a computer and 2 USB sticks that had sensitive data went missing. Regional Transport Police are now investigating the crime. In entertainment news, a day after Taylor Swift's father, Scott Swift, was accused of assaulting paparazzi in Australia, the singer's spokesperson issued a statement denying the accusations. They stated that 2 individuals were pushing their way towards Taylor. One person even threatened to throw a staff member into the water. The photographer alleged that Taylor's security guards opened an umbrella in front of his face to prevent him from taking pictures. Adele has decided to cancel her Las Vegas concert scheduled in March. She revealed on social media that she's battling illness and needs time to recover. The Grammy-winning singer added that the state of her health has taken a toll on her voice. The new dates are yet to be announced. The estate of American singer Donna Summer has sued rapper Kanye West. They're accusing him of using her song I Feel Love in his new album Vultures without permission. The estate had explicitly denied his request to use parts of the song in his album. The International Federation of the Phonographic Industry announced that South Korean band 17's album FML was the biggest selling album of 2023. The federation revealed that 5 of the top 10 in this list are South Korean acts. The album FML also gained top positions in the US and France last year after it released. The makers of the Michael Jackson biopic have finalized the actors for the role of Jackson 5 members. The Jackson 5 was a band which comprised of Michael and his brothers. The actors finalized are Jamal R. Henderson, Jalen Lyndon Hunter, and Joseph David Jones. The biopic is scheduled to release next year. The screenwriter of 1989's Roadhouse has sued the makers who are producing its remake. R. Lance Hill's copyrights over the film's screenplay expired in November last year. A court is yet to give a judgment on the writer's petition to secure the copyright for himself, but the makers ignored him and proceeded with the film. The Roadhouse remake is due to release on the 21st of March on Amazon Prime Video. The cult classic film Mary Poppins has been reclassified by the British Film Censor Board. The film's universal rating has been changed to parental guidance. Universal rating means the film is suitable for all audiences, whereas parental guidance stands for films with some scenes unsuitable for young children. The change is because of the use of discriminatory language in the 1964 film. Streaming giant Netflix has decided to join the Broadway Club. It is introducing a play titled Patriots, which is about the rise of Russian President Vladimir Putin. The play is set in 1991 and will showcase how a billionaire helped Putin in his career. Actor Will Keane will play the role of Putin. The play will open in New York in April this year. Yeol saw the attendance of A-list Hollywood celebs for its Paris Fashion Week show. Actors like Jennifer Lawrence, Natalie Portman, and Elizabeth Debicki posed for the Shutterbugs before entering the venue, while actors like Leslie Mann, Rachel Brosnahan, and Alexa Chung were seated in the front row. Dior presented a range of fall and winter seasons ready-to-wear outfits. Madame Tussauds Museum in New York has installed new wax figures of music duo Daft Punk. The artists were seen in their Random Access Memories-era silk and velvet suits. The wax effigies stand next to Ariana Grande, Rihanna, and Beyoncé in the Glow Gala area. The statues were unveiled with an immersive audiovisual experience for visitors.
From impeachments to inaugurations, if it's a political story, we are on the scene. The race for the White House is heating up.
We're beating Biden.
How dare he say that?
If it's breaking news, we're live with the latest coverage. From the White House, the State Department, and Capitol Hill, we know the issues, but above all, we know the players to bring you the latest in-depth analysis on all the key stories that we're covering. I'm Eric Ham. Join me from Washington here on Firstpost America.